graduated in 1990 from Columbus High School, and from there I went to the University of Nebraska, where I played football for the University, the Huskers, for 5 years. Did pretty well during those times. Had opportunity to score 2 touchdowns in the national championship game. I was selected in the draft in 1995 to Detroit Lions, where I played with the Lions for 12 years. And now currently I am teaching in Allen Park High School. Well, wrestling and football, that was about it. Those are my 2 activities and clubs I was in. So I should have, now I look back on it, I'm like, I really should have participated in some more things, but my main focus was on the 2 sports. And looking back on it now, it's just like, you know what, you shouldn't have blown it when I was there. But I use my story to help out the students. And I listen, don't waste this opportunity for free education, to learn, especially what I'm teaching in my classroom. I learned this subject matter because this is what you learn in this class could possibly give you a job someday, and at least figure out what you want to do with your life for a career. And I must say, my sophomore year was kind of rough. I didn't have very good study habits, let's put it that way. I started studying, and it felt good to take the tests and be able to pass them. And it was tougher for me. I had to really gain study habits, and once I did that, it really helped me out quite a bit. It really benefited me a lot, and it just took me a while, because I guess I think I was pretty immature then, and I just didn't really had my really good study habits. But once I started doing it, it really helped me out. I was able to pass my classes. I was able to do a good job. It was nice to take a test and know the information, but it was all on me. I had to go out there and do it. I didn't blame the teacher. It wasn't their fault. I didn't blame anybody else. It was me. I had to go out there and actually do the work. Was I a very good student beginning of my high school year? Probably not, but I did learn, and through the teachers and their motivation and being able to work with me, I feel like I continue to grow as an educator and or as a student, and those carried on with me into college. The teachers I did have, Mr. Callan, he was my biology teacher, and he taught me really how to take good notes. Reading, I could have did more reading, let's put it that way. But some of those classes there kind of force you to do it. Books that were really interesting, but you still had to read them and retain the information. So I was able to, really force myself to do these things, and which was beneficial. And I'm glad the teachers did kind of push me, and it did help me later on in college because of their effort and their positive motivation during the class time to get me to do these things. One of my writing classes, it was great because the basic sentence structure, paragraphs, stuff like that. Well, we need to do that, especially back in college. There wasn't computers and stuff like that to help you out. You had to write everything all out, type it up on a typewriter, and they did a great job preparing me for college. Really, to be honest, I didn't know if I was really planning on going to college. Not until I started really getting letters from universities about playing for them. Not only was it for football, but it was also for wrestling too. And that was also a motivation to really get my grades in order, make sure I have all my classes that I need to get into college. So that was a motivation to really start buckling down and get things done. So yeah, really my senior year, I really buckled down and I did way more academic stuff to make sure I was prepared to get into college, and I had enough classes to get there also. Definitely not professional. Even college, I played to be the best player on Friday night. I just went out there and I practiced hard. I went out and played the games. I played as hard as I could. And it showed. I mean, watching film, I did what I was supposed to do. I did what the coaches asked me to do. I went out there and I worked hard. I practiced hard. I practiced like I'm going to play the game. And that carried over into college and into NFL. Playing the NFL was never even a thought in my head back in high school. Playing in Division I college was not even really a thought in my head either. Not until I started getting letters from different colleges. And then my senior year, letters came in like crazy all over the place. And, I had an opportunity to say, listen, I could probably do something like this. And luckily for me that, other teams, not only the Huskers, but other NFL teams, I said, listen, I think we want this guy on our team to play for us. And I was happy to do so. So, just hard work, and people will notice, other people will notice. And luckily for me, they did notice. That was a reason to go to college. and I'm glad they did. It pushed me to do more things. That is what I studied at the university. I started going into construction management, and I found out that I thought it was gonna be more hands-on type stuff because I was a hands-on person, especially in high school, and not only in high school, outside of school. Grow up in a small town. I grew up in Duncan, Nebraska, actually, not even Columbus. I just grew up in a small town. We did a lot of things to entertain ourselves, and some of the things we're building, and we built a lot of different things. So this was a great opportunity for me to not only get the chance to do these things, but I can actually teach other people, or students, young adults, to do the same thing. This was a major that I was really passionate about. I really enjoyed it. I think some of it had to do with the teachers at high school. I think they really rubbed off on me and said, listen, I can make a difference in some of these kids' life because they made a difference in my life. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to use my degree. And for me, I was lucky enough that there happened to be a school not too far from the practice facility in Allen Park. I applied for the job and I was able to get the job. Been doing this now for 13 years or something like that. So it was a great experience for me. Back when I was playing in the NFL, I would come back to Nebraska, where I trained with the Huskers, and I would substitute teach. I would take classes at the University of Nebraska because I wanted to make sure my certificate was up to date. Because in one hit, you could, I could be done with NFL football. Fortunate for me, it was 12 years later. But I always made sure I was prepared for life after football. I think Tom Osborne did an outstanding job. He wants to make men other than just football players. He wanted us to graduate college and be prepared for the workforce. Fortunate for a lot of us, we were able to play NFL football, but there were still guys who are very good players who didn't get the opportunity to do it, so they all had to use their degree. Coach Osborne was really good and passionate about getting your education. I'm very thankful for Coach Osborne, not only bringing me to the program, but also motivating me to get my degree and preparing myself not only for on the field, but more in life than anything else. And I think you could talk to a lot of different players that went through him, and I guarantee they all agree, said, listen, his probably best thing was not the coach, the man who said, listen, how was your academics going? How was your classes going? When you saw him in the hallway, you didn't talk about football. You asked about what you're doing, how's your classes, what's going on outside of football. And I think that probably meant more to me than the actual game itself, what happened on Saturday afternoon. And, he cared about what we did, and he knew what we did, and he knows what we were doing in class. And he was a very good role model. I think every player that played with him would probably say the same thing. You got to put the work into it. You know, people sit there and say, "Oh, well, Cory, you're just a tough, fast player." No, it was work. College was work, not only with the academic part, but the football part, but the academic part, it was work. You had to do your work. I taught my children that, you know, school is important. We're not going to sit there and say, hey, you know, let's do this. You know, it's okay. Let's just focus on sports. No, we're focusing on education, because education will take you further than anything else. Because I played for 12 years. Some guys might play longer, but you're still going to have to go back on your education, because it only lasts so long. You can't sit there and do nothing the rest of your life. You have to stay busy. You have to keep your brain going. You have to work and be productive. The main thing is you gotta do the work. Do not blame anybody else. Do not make excuses. You have to do the work. And I tell my students that too. It's about you doing the work. You can't sit there and just say, I'm gonna give you a grade for coming to class and just because you walked in the door. No, it's about doing the work. And I'm hopefully pushing them to, you know, eventually when they graduate, that they're gonna remember, hey, it's about doing the work in this class. And that is the main thing. Sometimes it's easy for students to do it. Some students struggle. I was one of those students that struggled, but I did the work. And do whatever you have to do. Also, you have to write extra notes. You got to do it. Some students don't need to do that. They can remember it right off the bat. Other students have to write everything down. I was one of those guys. That's why I liked my math teacher, Mrs. Bush, because she made me, you know, write out the long formula with it. Do the work hard, don't make excuses, and hopefully those will take you pretty far.